Hey everyone, today I'm going to be talking about 5 signs that your starter is going bad. Your starter is what gets your engine going, so it's important to make sure it's in good working order. If you're experiencing any of the following problems, it could be a sign that your starter is on its way out. Slow cranking. If your engine is slow to crank when you turn the key, it could be a sign that your starter is not getting enough power. Clicking noise. If you hear a clicking noise when you turn the key, it could be a sign that the starter solenoid is not engaging. Grinding noise. If you hear a grinding noise when you turn the key, it could be a sign that the starter gear is not meshing with the flywheel. No crank at all. If your engine doesn't crank at all when you turn the key, it could be a sign that the starter is completely dead. Burning smell. If you smell a burning smell when you try to start your engine, it could be a sign that the starter is overheating. If you're experiencing any of these problems, it's important to get your starter checked out by a mechanic as soon as possible. A bad starter can prevent you from starting your car, and it can also damage other parts of your engine. In this video, I'm going to go into more detail about each of these signs, and I'm also going to show you how to test your starter to see if it's bad. So if you're having problems starting your car, be sure to check out this video. This is the most obvious sign of a faulty starter. When you turn the key, you may hear nothing at all, or you may hear a clicking sound. If the engine doesn't crank at all, the starter is likely the culprit. If the engine cranks slowly when you try to start it, this could also be a sign of a faulty starter. The starter may not be able to spin the engine fast enough to get it started. If you hear a squealing noise when you try to start the engine, this could be a sign that the starter is worn out. The starter motor uses a gear to engage with the flywheel, and if this gear is worn, it can make a squealing noise. If you hear a whirring noise when you try to start the engine, this could be a sign that the starter solenoid is faulty. The solenoid is responsible for sending power to the starter motor, and if it's not working properly, the starter motor won't engage. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, it's important to have your starter checked by a qualified mechanic. A faulty starter can prevent your car from starting, and it can also damage other components of your engine. This is the most obvious sign of a faulty starter. If your car won't start at all, or if it takes multiple attempts to get it going, your starter motor could be the culprit. The starter motor is an electric motor that cranks the engine to start it. When you turn the key in the ignition, the starter motor engages with the flywheel and spins it, which in turn starts the engine. There are a few things you can do to troubleshoot a car starter when the car won't start. The battery is the most common cause of a car not starting. Make sure the battery terminals are clean and tight, and that the battery has enough charge. You can use a voltmeter to check the battery voltage. The starter solenoid is a switch that sends power from the battery to the starter motor. If the solenoid is faulty, the starter motor won't get any power and the car won't start. You can check the solenoid by listening for a click when you turn the key in the ignition. If you don't hear a click, the solenoid is probably faulty. If you've checked the battery and the solenoid and the car still won't start, you can test the starter motor on a bench. This involves removing the starter motor from the car and connecting it to a power source. If the starter motor spins when you connect it to power, it's probably working properly. If it doesn't spin, it's probably faulty and needs to be replaced. If you're experiencing any of the signs of a faulty starter, it's important to get it checked out by a mechanic as soon as possible. A faulty starter can prevent your car from starting, and it can also damage other components of your car's electrical system.